Okay guys, I'm going to try to get this out as quick as possible, and now as you can see I do have a SpongeBob sticker. Got that for the SpongeBob reviews. Um, so now today I'm going to be reviewing SpongeBob again. I haven't done that SpongeBob in I don't know how long. That's because lately I've been doing a lot of SpongeBob reviews, so I guess I took a little bit of a break. So now it's going to probably either be back to once a week, or if I don't have a video idea, SpongeBob reviews. So today's episode, this is probably, let me actually look up how many episodes it is. Hold on 1 second, I should start doing this before I make this video, but I still probably forget. This is, and I believe this is right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is the 11th episode of SpongeBob. So it already hit its 10th episode. I think last episode, I believe I said it was positive. This episode is called Home Sweet Pineapple, and this was made on August 14th, 1999. This episode was actually pretty good, but I'm going to say right now that it did have its goofy moments, and it did have some strange moments that you kind of questioned. So I'm going to explain how it starts. It starts off with, like, you don't believe, like, these, like, worms. They're nematodes. That's what they are. And there's like a leader, and one of them, that person will say, I guess, because he says hungry, so I guess all the whole group's hungry. But I think whatever that person is feeling, that's what you feel. Like if he was happy, you have to be happy. If it was sad, you have to be sad. So then he's like, hungry, 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 hungry. So then they go and eat a rock. I think it was like a rock. Then they say then he says still hungry. They're still hungry. He ate somebody's car, but he didn't eat the actual person in the car because it was moving. So then that person says, "Dan, nematodes," and he's still moving on air with no call. So that's kind of strange. Then they say thirsty. They're thirsty. They go and drink, of course, SpongeBob's pineapple, because you could probably get some great pineapple juice with that. So they're drinking the pineapple, SpongeBob's pineapple. SpongeBob thinks, yes, we're finally huge. But then his bed disappears. He's like, wait a minute. So then he realizes that his house is shrinking. So then he tries to call Squidward, and he says it's time already to ruin. He asks if it's time already to ruin his day. So then as he's talking, the phone is like being, I guess, technically they're eating it, but they're drinking it at the same time. And I'm wondering how would they not choke after all this? But that the phone's sinking, so then SpongeBob sounds like one of those chipmunks you see on Mickey Mouse. Or like an old videotape you play fast forward, or Alvin and the Chipmunks. Then SpongeBob screams, and then Patrick comes out, and he says, and he asks if it's time already to ruin Squid's day. So then he falls in his walk with all the stuff. He's out with the suit, and he says, what does he say? Oh, he says not to start without him. So then, eventually his house gets completely drunken. I think I don't really know the correct terms. Then, they burp, leave. SpongeBob says they are nematodes. So then Squidward sees that his house is gone. Then, he says the only thing they have of that house is like a little seed that they have, so they put it in their pockets. Well, SpongeBob puts it in his pocket. So then SpongeBob says that he's gonna have to move in with Mom and Dad. Well, actually, Squidward at first is happy because he realizes that SpongeBob is gonna have to move somewhere else. So then he says, "I'm gonna miss you, boo hoo, boo hoo." So he's like walking in his house pretending to cry. So then he's like throwing a party and going, aha, boo-hoo. So then Patrick's like, Squid's taking it real hard. so that was pretty funny. Then SpongeBob says that he's going to have to move in with his mom and dad. Then it shows a picture of them smiling. So then Patrick's like, wait a minute. No, you don't. And then it shows a picture of them sad. And then he says that they can build him a new house. So then they build a house. So then he's like, so SpongeBob tells him that they can't build a house. Then Patrick shows him that he's built his all by himself, and it's like a little kind of like an antenna thing you put on your car, but except it's like a piece of wood then that falls off. So he didn't really build his house. He just added something new to it. Then it shows them building the house like a montage kind of, and it shows Patrick hammering with the hammer, and he's hammering his hand instead of the nail. So that was pretty strange. SpongeBob has like a paint, and he paints like the wood because you got to paint wood. And it's just his backside, not like his ass, but like his back, and him smiling. And it's green and I think it was red. It was green and red. Then it shows SpongeBob with like a wrench. He's like trying to fix up the sink. Patrick, like, because everything's going upside down as he's doing this, and then Patrick kind of like falls. Then SpongeBob's up on the air, and he's hammering wood, and it's falling on Patrick's hand, and he keeps moving closer to where it is. So I don't think he should have just moved there. I think he should have just stayed where you were. Then after that, the house is finished, but they do build this house, but it's like kind of like a toy set house. It's kind of like one of those toy houses you make. So SpongeBob puts it on his head, and Patrick even says, "I wish I lived there." So then SpongeBob's like, "Really?" He's like, "Nope." Then the house breaks when SpongeBob goes in there. So then he says they gotta move back to Mom. Okay, family, we have to move back with Mom and Pops. Then Patrick says that when his parents kicked him out, he never went back. So then he tells him that Gary can live with him, and he's like, and then he says, "We'll be rock mates." So then Gary's sleeping. They both fall asleep, and I guess it shows Patrick sleeping outside, but he uses his rock as a blanket, and like the sand as a pillow. So they both fall asleep. Gary, so SpongeBob's snoring, then we hear like Patrick snoring really loud, so that scares Gary, and he goes in his shell. SpongeBob puts like its earplugs in, and he can still hear him. Patrick's drooling, so then SpongeBob, being a sponge, absorbs the drool. Then he gets up and he goes over to Patrick, and he's gonna like cover his mouth with like these earplugs that he has. So then I guess he puts them together, and it's like this big earplug. He puts it in his mouth, preventing Patrick from breathing. Oh, and eventually, I should mention that I forgot to mention, but before that happened, they both got cold. So then Patrick pulled his rock, and they were having like a fight over it. And Patrick of course got the upper hand, so SpongeBob had to use the sand as a blanket. So then eventually Patrick gets the earplug out of his mouth. He takes his rock and he says, "Spiders, spiders, spiders," and he pretty much smashed SpongeBob with the rock in the process. Then SpongeBob eventually escapes because he eventually stops. He goes away from Patrick's rock, goes to sleep. Well, attempts to go to sleep. Then Patrick comes and does the spiders thing again. So that was pretty funny. And eventually, I think Gary fell off the rock when he did that, because he didn't see Gary after that. But anyways, then SpongeBob goes to Squidward's house, and I guess he found Gary somewhere, or Gary came to him. So then, SpongeBob's asked if they can stay there for like a day or two. He's like, yeah, sure, whatever, because he's like half awake, so he's not really, so he doesn't really realize it, that it's SpongeBob asking the question. So then, he asks him to scoot over, he asks him to get him a glass of water. Then eventually, they say goodnight to each other. When Squidward says goodnight, SpongeBob, it clicked in. Squidward kicks him out and says goodnight, SpongeBob. Then they kind of go to the day, so you don't really get to see where SpongeBob slept. So I'm guessing he slept probably outside somewhere. And so is and then Squidward's like, he's happy, he's like, today's the big day, I don't want to miss this, don't want to be late. And he's like, today's the day that SpongeBob moves, and Patrick's all tears because he's upset that he has to leave. But at the same time, Patrick should have been a better lockmate because SpongeBob would still be living with Patrick right now if it wasn't for Patrick. So this isn't in a way his fault. So then SpongeBob says that he'll come visit him, and he's like, "Don't try to cheer me up, SpongeBob." And then he says, "Please." So then Patrick, his parents are there. Squidward helps him with his bags. He grabs the pebble, and he says that he can't hold on to it because it holds too many memories. He buries it. A tear comes down from his eyes, and then it lands on the seed, and it's like glowing, and he says bye to Squidward, and he's saying SpongeBob is leaving, he's leaving. So then he says bye to Patrick, and he says goodbye Bikini Bottom. And by the way, I should also mention that I don't know if they took the part out, but the way it sounds like your mother has dinner waiting. I wonder. So hopefully they did not just burn down the house and leave the stove just running. If they did, then where else would they go? Grandma's house? Well, we don't know at this point if SpongeBob has a grandma, so I probably just spoiled a future episode for you. But after that, Patrick is holding the boat, so he can't leave. So then Squidward's still celebrating. We see like the seeds still like growing. And after one tear did all this, by the way. SpongeBob's house regrows. He's like, "My house is back." So then he goes in the house, and somehow all the stuff is still in this house when it wasn't really his house to begin with. Like, why would all this stuff be there? Is it because his tear made the memories? I don't really know. But then he tells Squidward that he's back forever, and Squidward's like, "Forever?" Because he doesn't not happy about it. And Squidward's like in the sand smiling, and then the episode cuts out. So not a bad episode. A little funny moments that didn't really make sense, but not too bad. I'll probably, I don't know the next time I'll be back. Either I'll be back next week or maybe sometime this week. But I have to watch the next episode. But that's pretty much it, guys. I'd like you to subscribe to this channel if you haven't. Comment on this video if you haven't. Like this video. Subscribe to Western Fortune 44 and do all that stuff. You can also add me as a friend and follow me on Twitter. Subscribe to CM Brothers. Do all that stuff. But that's pretty much it, guys. I'm gonna go watch WWE main event and possibly give a review out tonight. But that's pretty much it, guys.